Good morning. This is Ignite for Q2. We are on session 5. This is Generate Your Leads. You got questions, comments, concerns? Just hit the unmute and bark away. We're here to help. If you need to escape at some point, this is going to be online at kwclmhub.com in the next few weeks, next few days, I should say. All right, so we're still in the vertical. Oh no, we moved this week. We moved today. We're in lead generation now. So we were real estate expert of choice. We did spark your career, embrace your job, connect with your market last week. Monday, we did define your value. Today, we're doing generate your leads. We do grow your database. That is going to be on Friday at 9 o'clock. So you are the lead generator. Gary Keller, my fear of failure was greater than my fear of lead generating. Allison Borge, how are you? So Gary said, my fear of failure was bigger than my fear of lead generation, which is good. To ask yourself, are you more concerned about getting on the phone and feeling uncomfortable, or having conversations and feeling uncomfortable? Or are you more concerned about having a horrible bank account, which I guess everybody's version of horrible would be in flux? We're going to talk about the competencies of business. Lead generate, capture and convert to appointments, present to buyers and sellers and get to the agreement, show buyers and market sellers, write, negotiate contracts, coordinate the sale, the closing, manage the money. When we get into business planning clinic in the fall, and we talk about the organizational chart, and we talk about level one of the organizational chart is that everyone is doing everything. You're the one person. Never mind all the stuff in your business. After that, you're walking the dog, picking up the dry cleaning, grocery shopping, the butcher, the baker, the candlestick maker. You're all the things. And being the visionary for what the future of your business is and managing the money are also things that you're doing. So lead generation, fears and myths. I think lead generation is really difficult. Who feels like that? Allison, yeah. All about it, yeah. I think a lot of people getting started definitely feel like that. I don't have time to lead generate. I don't know what to say, or I'm afraid of making mistakes. So lead generation for most people, unless you've been in a sales position before and you were doing it. And this is one of the things, we have a lot of people that come into our industry, and no disrespect, they might have been in a sales position at another company, but let's pick on Dunder Mifflin. If you ever watched, right? If you ever watched The Office, was it The Office? Yes. Yeah. I'm thinking of Office Spaces, that movie, right? In The Office, in an environment like that, Dunder Mifflin, Jim and everybody are calling companies that they have a relationship with for the most part and seeing if they need to order more, right? Think of WB Mason, all these companies that, like, when we see the truck pull up to our office here and they're dropping off paper and, you know, whatever they're dropping off, bathroom tissue, all the supply stuff that companies need. I'm not saying that there's not some salesmanship that goes on in those conversations. It's wildly different than what you're doing here. If you're with a sales organization before and you're just calling and selling consistent clients, their reorder, it's a different skill set. Not having time to lead generate, we need to create that. You guys know that. I know you know that. We protect that at our market center. We don't put outside of Ignite. I know I'm stepping on my own toes right now. Outside of Ignite, once a quarter, we don't put anything from 9 to 11. And the reason we drop this at 9 to 11 is, for the most part, we have agents who are coming into the industry, learning about the business. And what do we ask you guys to do at the end of every one of these classes? Make your calls. We also don't run it the way it's supposed to be run. Ignite's supposed to be Monday through Friday and done in a month. What we chose to do was break it up and do Monday, Wednesday, Friday, because what happens on Tuesdays and Thursdays at our market center? Fight Club, lead generation. If you don't know what Fight Club is, join us tomorrow. It's 9 to 11. Click the link. You go in the room. You leave your camera on. You shut your microphone off. If you need help with scripts, we're here for that. And everyone is just making their calls. Why would we bother doing that? We're doing that because we're creating the space for people to do it together. There's a power in the solidarity of seeing everybody else on the screen making their calls. It dispels the myth that nobody's actually really doing that. And then above and beyond that, if you need support, it's there for you. So please join us on Tuesdays and Thursdays for that. The link is right in your morning news. If you don't remember the link, if you don't see the link in the news, just remember it's kwfightclub.com. I don't know what to say. I appreciate that. That's why we have the scripts. The pushback on the scripts is I don't want to use the scripts because they make me sound salesy. They don't sound like me. We just talked to Brinley Tucker from YRL this morning. And I said to her, when people say to me, I don't want to sound salesy, I say, don't sound salesy. You're having a conversation with people that you know and love and trust. She pushed back on that a little bit. And she's like, if you don't want to sound salesy, maybe you shouldn't be in sales. Because we don't need to sound salesy. What is happening here?
Are those bear claws?
No, he's like, those like handmade flaky pups. That's a bear claw, Dustin's? That's hysterical, dude. You're amazing. You're amazing. Get a picture of that entire box before somebody starts to dig into that, because Zoe's going to want to see that. And get it with the Coach to 10K. She'll love that. She'll love it. And I'm afraid of making mistakes. When I got started, Nathan Dickey said to me, we are making omelets. You're going to break some eggs. And don't forget, when it comes to real estate, no one's going to die. Lead generation is not difficult. Getting ourselves in the right mindset to do lead generation can be a challenge. And when you hear people talking about Gary's up on stage at family reunion, you should be doing lead generation for 37 hours a day, blah, blah, blah. I appreciate that. At least 2, we would recommend. But if yesterday for you was 0, I'd start with an hour. If you made no dials yesterday, and you're going to hear me say dials, because I'm always going to push the phone, because it's the fastest way to get in touch with people. The fastest way to get in touch with people. Everyone says I'm better off face-to-face. You're 4,000% correct. Because we have the math, right? 7% of our power in conversation is the words we choose. 43% is the tonality and passion in which we deliver those words. The additional 50% is our body language. So if I'm in front of you, that's the best version of me. So people that said, oh my God, I'm so sick of Zoom, shut up. It's a blessing. One of the blessings of COVID was Zoom for our industry to be technically digitally face-to-face with people, super powerful. And I would absolutely rather, as your coach for sure, which is fascinating. I'm picking on Maps a little bit. Good morning, Gary. Maps coaching still does phone calls. And I appreciate that. I think a lot of Maps coaches might have moved to Zoom over COVID. And I think they keep it on the phone because an agent might be going to their next appointment, blah, blah, blah. For me as a coach, when I can see Allison or Derek or Megan, and I can sort of ask you a question and I can see you visually gulp or roll your eyes, that's body language that I can use. Not against you, but to better understand how you're feeling. So COVID and the onset of Zoom for our industry was actually a blessing. And I don't know what to say. That's why we've got the scripts. If you guys go into KW Connect and you go to resource, go across the tab at the top and go to resources, you drop down, you see KWU in that menu. And then you go into that page and you'll see Ignite version 6, which launched late fall last year. You go into materials, you will see all the scripts in there. When you take bold, you get access to the bold scripts. The ones that we share on Fight Club are actually from Jeff Glover. If you go to gloveru.com, he's a great KW agent, phenomenal training. And his script book is very clean, very concise, very manageable to flip through and find stuff. So that's why I choose to use that one. If you don't know what to say, we have the words for you. I can assure you of that. And if you're afraid of making mistakes, said with love, everyone in this building made mistakes. Everyone before you didn't know what to say until they started working on it. Which is fascinating too, because newer agents will definitely say, yeah, I'd rather call leads that we get from the team, or maybe you're a solo artist and you're gonna buy leads from our friends over at Billo. And I'd rather call people to me that I don't know, because then if I F up, it doesn't matter. Well, we'd recommend, KW is a teaching hospital. We always refer to ourselves as a teaching hospital. I'd rather have you work on the cadavers than are your friends. And what I mean by that is just have those conversations. Call your friend you haven't talked to in a while. I'm sorry it's been so long. I'm glad I got a hold of you. How's everything going? We know what's going to come up. It's the Ford conversation. F-O-R-D, family, occupation, recreation, dreams. And most of your friends, if you're just getting started, are going to ask you about probably where you used to work. We actually have 2 people in the room right now that just told their last professional commitment goodbye, right? Pretty awesome. Congratulations to both of you, right? So you have to tell, you got about 18 to 24 months, honestly, for the 2 of you. Megan, I don't know what you're doing professionally right now, if you still have another commitment or if you're jumping all the way in. But honestly, in the grand scheme of things, you have to probably tell people for the next 18 to 24 months, I'm not at the Navy shipyard anymore. I'm not at the stuff about the thing. I forget the name of your company, right? Affordable housing. Yeah. Yes, I decided to move out of affordable housing into unaffordable housing. I work with Haven Homes now. Do you have $8 million to buy something over by Nubble? Yeah. Yeah. He's doing just that. He's over there with Bear Claws, making everybody happy. So that's wildly important. I'm just gonna double check. Megan, can you hear me when I'm talking? Can you just nod and say yes? Can you hear me while I'm talking? Uh-oh. No, it says it is. Can you hear me? Okay, she can. It's freaking out for a second. I'm like, am I just talking to the wall? Uh-oh. Good. Thank you, kiddo. So being afraid of making mistakes, you're gonna. And if that's going to keep you, the analysis paralysis of real estate is a very real thing. If that's going to keep you out of action, let's have a conversation. Zoe and I are here to help with that. So again, lead generation is really difficult. I was confusing effort with enjoyment. Lead generation is actually easy. It's just not fun. And that, yeah, sure. Like that number, I don't think anybody, I don't talk to a lot of top producers. Like, oh my God, I love it. But the result, right? You're heading to Planet Fatness, you know, like, oh my God, I can't wait to go hit the treadmill. Then do like 4,000 crunches. Nobody wants to go do that. But when you get to the beach and you don't look like the Pillsbury Doughboy, you're like, oh, shit, that wasn't enjoyable, but I'm happy with the results. I don't have time to lead generate. I had an issue of making time to lead generate and protecting that time. That's usually what it is. And that's why we had to get better and better and better. I mean, I've been in this role now for 8 years and making sure that I wasn't putting together an educational menu that was giving you guys the out. We try to keep our educational calendar pretty lean and mean and purposeful. There's nothing on there that's busy work. Zoe and I aren't like, what can we throw on there just to fill space? I think if we just started delivering a calendar all of a sudden that had no classes on it, you guys would be like, what's going on? This is what we do. We definitely do more in a week than most do in a month. I know that. We definitely do. We'll probably have more training today. If you think about the fact that right now, Vermont Contracts is taking place over on Keller TV. You guys are here till 11 o'clock. Over on Keller TV, they're going to go Vermont, Maine, and New Hampshire. And then we're actually done for the day. But we're offering 5 hours. And then we had the quick start this morning with Brindley and you know, so collectively almost 6 hours of conversations about mindset and activity. Pick any brokerage in Portsmouth today, any one of them, combine them, and they're not doing that. But we also don't want to create a space where you can be just deep. And then people are always like, oh my God, my friend who's at our market center is always in classes. I think she's turning into a professional student. No, she's an amateur student because she's not getting paid. The difference between amateur and pro is you get paid, right? I don't know what to say. I had to get on a path of mastering the dialogue skills needed in this business. It is what we do every day. The best athletes on the planet have coaches. Tom Brady works with a specialist, or he did. Outside of the coaching he had with the Patriots and the Bucks, he worked with a specialist, a private trainer for just throwing. He had Alex working with his pliability with TB12, Alex that he built that whole thing with. Yeah. He just wake up and like, I'm really good. He's really good, but he worked his ass off, right?
He did work.
And you think about our best golfers, if you just watch the Masters. On the days they're not playing, like they're heading to South Carolina, they're probably already there. It's RBC Heritage this week at Harbor Town. Most of them probably left the Masters Sunday or Monday morning, probably went straight to South Carolina, and Monday afternoon, yesterday and today. Today's definitely a practice round, but they probably spent all day yesterday just hitting an inordinate amount of balls. They'll just show up on Thursday and they're like, yep, crushing it. Not to mention all the gym time they spent. Everything they're spending time to do to be perfect in the moment when they need to be perfect in the moment. That's practicing your conversations with scripts. Being afraid of making mistakes. I found that lead generation is nothing more than a set of tasks and skills that are well documented. Most of our scripts, most of our conversation blueprints are a series of questions. Everyone that can hear me right now is capable of being curious. Just keep asking questions. I always say to you guys, I'm always going to say to you guys, ask great questions, take great notes, have honest conversations. Honest conversations are being candorous with the people that you're serving. And the great question we talked about the other day, when I say ask a great question, what do I mean? What's a great question? The next one. The next one, right? Because that's what happens. We usually stop asking questions. You know, stay curious. An objection is not the end of the relationship. An objection is a continuation of the interview. Somebody says, no, get off my property. No, get the hell out of my house. That's a little stronger. But when like, oh, we don't know if we're ready. That's like, all right, well, I'll check in 5 years. No. Hey, interesting. Interesting. Yeah, you feel found. I understand how you feel, Mr. Lindsay. When my wife and I got started, we felt the same way. And then what we found is we thought we weren't ready to get started because we were looking for more information. We didn't actually need time. This is important. We actually talked about this yesterday. Nate had a mastermind for the mega agents. When we talk about our sphere of influence, do people know what that is? What's your sphere of influence?
You're like network of people that you friends.
Yep. Yep. Sometimes people will say it's everybody I know. And I'm not going to disagree with that because that's your belief system. Cool. I'm going to push back on that a little bit. So in this picture, like that person in the middle is you, right? Then you've got people surrounding you. Think of those different colored rings as the conversations, pulling them into relationship with you closer and closer. Because we have to tell everybody 7 times we're in real estate before they forget, right? What I want you to think about is just think about your big circle of everyone you know, whether it's all the people in your phone, all the people in your command. And then remember, there's another darker circle closer to you. To me, that would be your sphere of influence. Everyone you know is in your sphere. Certain people in your sphere have influence over others, or you have influence over them. They view you as the straw in the drink, or you view them as the straw in the drink. Because your Aunt Julie, whom we love, only talks to her cat. You will eventually help her when she sells her house and goes to assisted living or moves in with your uncle or whatever. But she's not necessarily influential. So growing that sphere of influence, that person that's going to hear somebody talking about selling their house, and they're going to lean over and say, hey, don't mean to interrupt. Heard you guys talking about real estate. If you're thinking about listing in Greenland and Stratham, you got to call Allison Burge. No brainer. She's a rock star. Your friend who's not an influencer would tell you 3 weeks later, oh my God, we were at the restaurant. I heard people talking about real estate, but I didn't want to bother them. Cool, right? They're just not wired. And we have to ask ourselves, will we be that bold? Right? I always say to you guys, like Saturday and Sunday, I want you guys spending time with your family and your faith. I don't need you sitting in the office with a headset on. If you're doing ardent lead generation with a headset and eye black on a Saturday or Sunday, let's examine what we're not doing Monday through Friday, okay? First and foremost. Above and beyond that, when you're out in the wild Saturday and Sunday, if somebody says real estate, you should tackle them. You know, I always find that fascinating. This will happen this summer too. Someone will tell me, I was at my aunt's house, everybody's in the backyard. We're all having barbecue. It's like the 4th of July. My cousin's talking about getting a condo. I just didn't think it was right for me to speak up. All right, Jerry. Who else in your family is a professional realtor, right? It's fascinating. That's where you just, I would politely walk over and be like, hey, if you have some time a little bit later on, let's talk to you about it. We have to do it now. I don't want to do it now because Fat Uncle Tony is going to butt his head in. He thinks he's a real estate expert. He's not. He's not. But if somebody in your family was a dentist and somebody needed a root canal, everyone would turn to you. The problem is some of the people in that backyard might not even know you're a realtor. Whose fault is that? You can't blame the potato salad. So I'm going to fight with these numbers a little bit. I was looking at this slide, and this is all, obviously, they just greased this up for last fall. So I'm not saying it's inaccurate, but I feel like some of these numbers are a little juicier than. And again, don't forget, when something comes out of Texas, this is based on numbers from conversations that Gary's having all over the country. But we talk about this all the time when I say to you guys, grab your phone. Everybody grab their phone. If you have time to grab your phone, grab your phone. Don't pretend you don't know where your phone is. You know where your phone is. Grab your phone. And how many contacts do you have in your phone? Or if the bigger number is in your command, cool. Whatever number you want to use. So you take the number of contacts in your phone. This individual has 250 people in their phone. And then potential closing opportunity from contacts. And it's got the math at 81%, not 81%, I apologize, 8%. And I feel like that might be a little rich because historically we've been using 6%. And I don't know if I would go higher than that right now with the hesitation in the country. That being said, you run that number and you get that new number out of the 250 people on the phone is 20 deals. Then you could run that same number against 10%. And now you know that you're getting 25 referrals. Historically, we would take your number and run it against 6%. Because the national average, which apparently has changed, which also I think the math might be skewed because they're using the COVID bubble. So personally, I'd probably stick with 6%. No matter what number you come up with, it's probably going to be mind-boggling. 6, or according to this math, 8% of North America is going to be transactional in the next 12 months. Now, the pushback we always get is, well, Tim, yeah, I get that. But I've got this number in my phone. And last year, I didn't get that 6% number of deals. Well, of course you didn't. Because your cousin was talking about buying a condo at your aunt's house and you didn't open your mouth. You're not running smart plans to tell everyone you know that you're here to serve. We can't say that we weren't involved in all those transactions when we didn't invite our face to be part of those transactions. And it doesn't mean the people in your phone, the 250, it's not the 6% of the 250 that'll be transactional. 6% of the 250 know someone who's going to be transactional. So have you been influential enough over the people that you know and love and trust that they're willing to refer you to who they know and love and trust? Have you asked every time it comes up, how's real estate? Phenomenal. And we have 48 families we want to help. Who do you know that we should know? And I mean, I would not to complicate it, but I would even curate that statement even more and just say, I'm so glad you asked. I just sat with my team going over our systems and knowing who I have on deck to help me with the transaction. We know in the next 9 months, we can help 34 more families at the level in which we want to serve them. I'd love for you or someone you know to be one of those 34. It's not open source. There's exclusivity. It's a country club. There's going to be a very curated experience when you deal with us. And we know in the next 9 months, we can help 34 more families, whatever your number is. Concierge. Yep.
Level service.
Yep.
Like you wanna be like there.
Yep. Because Yep. Yep. Well, and when you start treating them that way, and it gets to the point that even after, like, you're sending them something as a home anniversary gift, or on either side of the transaction, and of course we always have to be careful with this because divorce is a game that people love to play. But this is when 4 months after the transaction, and this is going to sound really misogynistic, but here it is because men are idiots and we forget, even though I gave myself the benefit of the doubt. Our anniversary is 9/6/96. I know most of you weren't alive. So that's a very difficult date to forget, right? So 9/6 is our anniversary. But if I got a call August 1st from Michelle, hey, Tim, how you doing? Michelle Matthews with Haven Homes. Hey, I know we're just about 30 days out from your anniversary. Hey, congratulations. How are you guys doing? Great. Awesome. Thank you so much. Hey, what we want to do, we just wanted to find out either you or Janina, what's your favorite restaurant? Right. And I say Cure, which is off the charts. Oh my God. Yeah. Oh, it's so good.
Yeah.
I say Cure. And then they're like, would you guys want to go on your anniversary, or would you want to do it the weekend prior? Like, Janina doesn't want to do it on a school night. We'll do it the weekend prior. Hey, why are you asking? With your permission, we're going to set this all up for you. And you're going to go. And they're very clear about it. We're going to set the reservations for you. But when we get there, what I don't know is that Michelle also ordered flowers to be at the front desk for my wife. Right? And then we sit down, and what we don't know is that our drinks, we don't know any of this. So when the bill shows up, we're going to find out. Our drinks, some dessert that says happy anniversary on it, and a chef's choice hors d'oeuvres, as my dad would say, hors d'oeuvre would get selected, right? Something like that. Some portion of it's going to comp, not all of it.
Yeah.
And then my wife is taking pictures and sending that. And then the next day, people are like, oh, what'd you guys do for your anniversary? Oh, Cure. Oh my God, you guys love that place. Yeah. And guess what? I didn't even make the reservation. Like, that's right. Because now, I talk about this all the time. You're selling them the brick and mortar. Cool. How do you frost that cake? Like you just convinced them the lifestyle here is good enough to buy. Yeah, yeah,
Like perfect example right there.
it's amazing. You just convinced them the brick and mortar they're about to buy is surrounded by this phenomenal lifestyle. And how do you keep that going? Like that is the surprise and delight of luxury selling, that if you're doing that, fans for life, raving fans for life. So if you guys take the number in your phone, if somebody has a number, let's run the math just so you guys have an idea, because I want to run the math past you to convince you to get everybody into command and to start running smart plans. And if you're not a command kid and your team uses Brivity or anything else, are you running some sort of a smart plan to make sure that all of your people are being communicated with on a regular basis? So somebody throw out a number. 550, love it. So Derek has 550. Take that and multiply that by 0.06. Take your 550 times 0.06. What do you got? 33. Take that and multiply that by 10,500. That's our average GTI check. What do you got? Minus 23,000 because you're going to pay Gary and Kaylee, your company dollar and your international royalty. What else? What do you got? Okay, and then multiply that by 0.66. So just to make you want more, I'm just going to knock off a little bit more. You just paid your taxes. That should be in your bank. Let's assume I'm a little off on the math, and because of the money that you made, your taxes might rate higher than 33%. You made $199. $199,000. You paid Gary, you paid Kaylee, you paid your taxes. And I would argue that if you're doing the things you need to be doing to track down those 33 deals, would you make more money? Say yes. Yeah. 1,000%, right? As soon as we start doing the activities to pursue our goals, we're absolutely going to outskate the puck, which is awesome. So your database, who's in there? Who have you not talked to in forever? Every day you put off that 7-year phone call is brain damage. And I know we don't want to make that call. I appreciate that. As your coach, I love you. I don't care. Get over it, climb under it, light it on fire. Because the 7-year phone call is really super easy because nobody's freaking doing it. So what does that look like? Hey, Nate, it's Tim. Tim Lindsay. Tim Lindsay. Oh, we play women's volleyball together at UNH. Like, this is how this would go when I was doing this. The next thing out of their mouth is so shocking because they clearly just demonstrated they don't remember me. They're like, oh my God, we were just talking about you, right? No, you weren't. But they're trying to get through the 17 seconds of why is Lindsay calling, right? Hey, I appreciate that. You know what? I'm so sorry. Mea culpa, my favorite Latin word or phrase. Mea culpa, it's all my fault. I'm so sorry it's been so long. Why am I saying this? I'm taking full ownership. What do I know? It's been 7 years. They haven't called you either. This is like adult battleship. You getting through to them first, you win. And this has happened to everybody, even before this relationship with real estate started for you. You're driving down the street. You see something that reminds you of your friend Stacy. You're like, oh, I should call her. Then you don't. 3 days later, who calls you? Stacy. And you can't be like, oh, I was going to call you a few days ago. No, you weren't. You were, but to verbalize that out loud to another human in 1987 in America sounds so disingenuous. You're already eroding your trust. I was going to call you. Well, you didn't do a great job. Right? So we have to get over the fact I haven't talked to this person in 7 years. So go in and rip the Band-Aid and make your ancient phone calls if they're still in there. I appreciate this. And Nate did this when he sent out his email, which I disagree with. When Nate did his first email with his first smart plan for 2023, when he got certain responses, he just cleared the herd. I mean, he had some people that were just like, haven't talked to you since 1938, get me off your list, which is fine. For you guys, if somebody unsubscribed, okay. But if somebody wrote back and said, who is this? And you'd be like, oh my God, this is so awkward. I'm going to get rid of this. I'd call them. Hey, I apologize. I had sent that out and I meant to call right behind it. It's Tim, remember? We went together, we went to Camp Watauga in Northwood. I never knew where that was when I was a kid. We used to go to Camp Watauga in Northwood for Boy Scouts. Now I live in Stratford and it's like right there, which is really weird. Anyway, yeah, yeah,
Just talking.
beautiful downtown Boy Scout camp.
You know,
What's that? Yeah.
We're on Easter.
Yeah, yeah.
You're very wrong.
So when we do that, when we have that conversation, I take the opportunity to call them back and we nurture the relationship. I know you're gonna look in your phone, you're gonna look on MySpace, you're gonna look at a lot of places where you have people, and you're like, I don't know if I'd ever want to do a deal with them. I'm gonna still stay in a relationship with that person. Because I don't know if this person that from high school that I've somehow stayed connected with over social media is gonna be somebody I'm ever gonna go break bread with or have a cocktail with or do deals with. But they might have somebody at their company in a corner office with discretionary income that's gonna buy a huge frickin' listing of mine soon. And that's why I'm gonna keep them in the mix. Who do you know that I should know? Because more often than not, with your closest people, they may never do a deal with you. They don't want you in their sock drawer. They don't want you to know that they had bad credit or they have bad credit. Or that their fiance is a maniac and just got out of jail, whatever. Some of your closest people may never pull the trigger with you. And we have to be okay with that. Ah, the sales funnel. This is what it looks like now. This is what we're talking about when we talk about the sales funnel. Your online leads that you get from most aggregators, let's pick on Billo because they're fun to pick on. Those are sitting at the very top. Arguably, most of those online leads, any Billo lead you get today, barring a miracle or a unicorn, they're probably going to be about 6 months to maybe years out. They're coming in to be in a nurture process. There's a benefit to having them. So when people start to send a check to Billo and start to get leads, never mind land, price point, whatever it looks like. They're like, oh, I called my first day with Billo, I called, they're all bad leads. You've made this judicial decision that all the leads in America from any aggregator are terrible. Well, let's define that. Are the leads bad or are you impatient? Right? Because we know whatever our face does today is probably going to be a closing table in 90 days. Like if our face makes the right call, I get a listing appointment this weekend. I'm about July 15th because today is April 12th, which makes it July 11th. Holy smokes, we're on the other side of the 4th of July. Yes, we are. So the leads aren't bad. Gary says this all the time, and I agree. The leads aren't bad. Maybe you're bad. Maybe your expectations are off. Because if I got somebody and I can nurture them for the next, and I'm in a room and Megan online, I feel like all of you probably intend to be at this for quite some time. Would anybody be upset if they met somebody today and it didn't turn into a deal until 2030? It's a long play. But some of your people, you're going to meet people this week that don't pull the trigger until 2030. Because the average American is 5 to 7 years out. If somebody bought their house yesterday, you're nurturing for that long. If somebody went bankrupt yesterday, it's a 7-year window. Go ahead. Can you throw them the mic just for the Smithsonian? Yep, thank you. Congrats.
So my question is, with that in mind, how might we look at nurturing relationships differently? Because that 550 number I gave you, there's a lot of people in that. For me, we're like, under the age of 22. They're not buying houses.
Yep.
But that doesn't mean I don't want a relationship with them. Obviously, I want that
course
just as
you do.
much long term. But
Yep.
How do I really make that relationship differently?
Well, you got to, start, right?
Yeah.
So you also have categorized a whole bunch of your friends that you feel you understand well enough that they're not going to pull the trigger on anything. We don't know that. You also have to remember some of your friends that may never pull the trigger with you, may never put themselves in a financial position to be a homeowner. Do they have an uncle, an aunt, an older sister? Could they be part of when you eventually get to a point where you decide I'm going to build an investment group with my best friends? And 5 of us, I'll do all the search and I'll do all the seek and search. And then I'm going to get them together and show them some opportunities. And we're going to pool some money. and I can run it, and they can all get passive income. That's a gateway drug for when they're ready to do their first thing. Because you guys are all splitting the passive income from one 4-door or one 2-door. What about when they eventually get their first thing and they live in one side and have somebody else pay the rent for the whole thing on the other side, right? So there's that. There's what I instructed Peyton Swidrak to do over the weekend. And I categorized her with you guys. Well, Peyton, like if you meet Peyton, I joked with her. I said, she looks 13. So she's a child. I think she's 19, honestly. And she said the same thing you did. Most of my people aren't pulling the trigger anytime soon. I appreciate that. How many of the people in your life were the last bird to leave the nest? And their parents might be considering right sizing, right? How many people in your life, their parents know you and adore you? Because you've been over and they know how you're wired, they know how you're built, they know your heart, they know your intentions, they know what you're doing. You've been a good friend to their son or daughter. And if you asked, they would take a flyer on you. Because I think we check out, all my friends' parents probably have a realtor. Okay. Is that person asking for the business? Is that person offering just an equity update? So I told Peyton the other day, I said, I completely appreciate that a lot of your friends, that they're not even thinking about this right now. They're standing in front of their parents' fridge right now, emptying it, doing their laundry at their parents' house. Good times. I loved it. And what if, I'm like, if you were going to go out with your 5 best girlfriends, name them. And she rattled them all off. And I said, so what you need to do this weekend, you're comfortable building CMAs and doing equity updates? She's like, yep. I'm like, I want you to build 5. You're going to drop them off in an Easter basket full of candy at some point this week. Anybody with Greek Orthodox friends or Orthodox friends, they're celebrating Orthodox Easter this Sunday. So we have the blessing of a long week celebrating Easter. Most of our European countries do like Easter Monday. So like France is still home drunk. But what if you built an equity update, put it in a thing of candy and dropped it off for them and rename it? And she did, and she sent me a picture and I'm so proud of her. She did an Easter equity hunt. Now, your friend's parents haven't even asked you to engage. You're dropping this off with chocolate. That is the best way to let them know that you know what you're doing. And then you're starting to build mind share for them. Dear Lord, wait till we actually ask her to do something for us. This was unsolicited. This is just her being care-filled enough to run these numbers for us, drop a couple of Cadbury cream eggs on top, and pop by real quick. And if you dropped them off for the next 3 days, hey, I was thinking about you over the weekend, talking to some friends. I didn't want to bother you over the holiday, but I wanted to pop by. I built this for you last weekend. I don't know if you want more chocolate, don't want more chocolate, hide it from the kids. But I'm on an Easter equity hunt. I'm making sure everyone knows where to find their number. Are you fucking kidding me right now? Like just like that's how plug and play this is. If we just think about delivering it differently. Hi, Mr. Lindsay. I know you know that I'm friends with little Jimmy, and I got a real estate license now, and I'm trying to figure out ways to not be smarmy. So I was going to deliver a CMA. Like, what? Stop breathing. I don't want to hear the rest of that sentence. Just come over, do something creative, and drop it off. Because most of America thinks they can grab their phone and they can look it up. And they can't. What, on Billo? They're going to look up their Bestimate? Holy Christmas. Like, nope. It's going to be terrible. It's 2 scoops of waffle with a side of fries. Not to mention, if you go on Billo lately, they're pulling down Bestimates. Because they know how wildly off they are. You're not. Our multiple listing services that serve all of our states update about every 16 minutes. You guys have your finger on the pulse of where the numbers are. Not to mention our civilian friends think they can pull it up like it's their 401k. You can't. You can look, they can guess. What if you delivered them the information? And then the final page is, here are some options. Do you want to list? And right size, right? And I'm talking about your friends to their parents. Do you want to do a HELOC and pull some money out to throw that deck on? To do anything? Or, you know, has this been helpful? And if it has, who else in your life could I deliver this to? Because you know what, that Easter equity hunt, at her friend's parents' house, that sat on the kitchen island all weekend. What is this? Oh, Stacy's friend paid and dropped it off. Yeah, we have $85,000 more equity than we actually thought. Because they thought they had 300,000 equity in their $600,000 home. And then they run over to Bestimates and they see how wildly off it is. And you have just made yourself, without even asking them for the opportunity, unsolicited, you became their person. Prospecting and marketing, don't forget about this. Prospecting is active. Marketing is passive. Prospecting is a conversation in real time. Even a direct message, I will give you that. Gary has said, yes, direct messages in real time. An email to you on July 4th with a response email on August 37th, that's not real time. If you're texting or direct messaging through social mediums in the real times, that counts. We want to move that to a conversation as soon as possible. And we want to make sure we ask for the opportunity, the call to action. Now, marketing can have a call to action. My challenge there is, if you have a billboard down at the traffic circle here in Portsmouth, got Derek's face, surrounded by floating bear claws, right? Surrounded by floating bear claws. And maybe he's holding up this thing for Couch to 10K. And he's saying, click the QR code for more information. There's his call to action. What he didn't do was actually have a conversation with me in real time, right? So marketing can have a call to action, but I also, what did I find out from the advertising company that sold me and I'm picking on bulletin boards, which are archaic, but stay with me on this. They told me how many cars pass there every day. Okay. How many people looked up? How many people are diabetic and hate bear claws? How many people saw this but didn't take the time to read it and they thought it was a race, right? But if I explain, so marketing is the additional, prospecting is what we do. We want to be prospecting based, marketing enhanced. Before COVID, we were physically based, virtually enhanced. And when COVID hit, we went on to Zoom and we had to flip everything. Now I was virtually based and physically enhanced sometimes. I would occasionally see somebody in the wild. So we had to get really good at making sure that whatever your lead generation before was always networking in person. They shut the country down. Melissa Lesniak, that's all she does is go meet with people in Dover. She's part of everything, right? And then she had to totally change her approach. Didn't go out of business. Continues to, as a solo agent, she's a single agent sales team. So she has she has operational support behind her, but she's the only salesperson on her team. She's party of one. And she consistently helps about 75 families a year. It's ridiculous. I don't know when she sleeps. So she had to change her approach because she was always toe to toe talking to people. I hate saying belly to belly. It sounds a little too personal. Yeah. Toe to toe. So prospecting based, marketing enhanced. Marketing is going to be out there constantly. Marketing is that smart plan. Marketing is helping build that recognition. Because what do we know? We know that absent a relationship with you, all they have is your reputation. So if they're seeing ads all over the place, they actually ran a test. I saw this on social media the other day. Some guy said they went to a certain neighborhood and knocked about 100 doors. And they asked everybody who answered, who's the #1 real estate agent? And they got a bunch of different responses. None of them overwhelming. There wasn't a surefire winner. So they went back, they made a flyer and some mailers of a fictitious realtor. And they did a campaign for 3 or 4 months. And then went back and knocked all the same doors. And by and large, guess who the #1 realtor was? Who had never done any business, who didn't exist, but had mind share. So it's very important that we're doing that in the background. That's never going to replace. Well, I've yet to see anybody sit on stage with Gary and talk about how they Instagram their way to $1 trillion, right? There's always going to be a prospecting based action involved. And there it is. Foundationally, we're prospecting based. It is going to take more time. Prospecting takes your time. You're on the phone. You're door knocking. You're going to events. You're involved. And this goes right back to why did we get here in the first place? Why do people get into real estate? Well, I want my time and my money. And to be successful, we have to get one of them. We have to give one of them away. But I also know when I become skilled at what I do, I can pick up the phone and probably set an appointment at will. Because you will eventually have somebody in your life, which fascinates me. People always tell me, well, I've got this friend, his name's Steve. And every time I call him, he's always got something for me. Okay. You know what you should do? What? You should marry Steve. He's already married. Well, then you should move to Utah. Like, figure it out. If I know there's somebody that every time I talk to them, there's a piece of business, they're a wealth determiner, they're not offended, they're excited to help, and they're a straw in the drink. So it sounds to me like Steve is influential. He's part of your sphere of influence. And every time you talk to him, there's a deal. You should talk to Steve as much as you possibly can, or connect with him as much as possible, right? For sure. Marketing. All right, I don't want to spend my time. I'm going to have to spend my money. The billboard's not free. The mailers aren't free. The pay-per-clicks on Google aren't free. They're passive. Most of our stuff is digital now. And I would always spend my money where I can track it. The billboards to me, Jesus, I don't know. I don't know. It's not trackable. I can go into Google Analytics. I can start a campaign at 9 o'clock when I leave my desk to come in here, go back at 11 o'clock and have Google Analytics for 2 hours already. Or I could call the town of Portsmouth and be like, how many cars do you think went by in the last 2 hours? Like, oh, I don't know. Jerry was on break. He went over to Dustin's to get bear claws. I'll ask him when he gets back. I don't, but yeah. It made the news. Yeah, yes. Yep. Yeah. Well, and to me, it needs to be it needs to be it's an additive. It's not like we're just going to run this billboard and wait for the phone to ring. Yeah, we're going to wait for the phone to ring.
Well, that was my entire thing.
That was it. Yeah, that's up in smoke now. Yeah. Relationship management. A database is a container that holds the information of your leads and contacts. And people get in their heads about using a database, using smart plans, because they feel like the smart plan and the database is managing their people. No, it is not. It is managing our relationship with our people. A well-curated message going out on a consistent basis when you walk into Market Bucket or Hannah Foods and somebody's like, oh my God, I got your St. Patrick's Day email. Thank you so much. That picture of you was really funny. If you didn't talk to your marketing team, you have no idea it was you in a green bikini on a goat or something, right? So what do we want to do? We want to make sure we also put ourselves on our marketing. You should always be seeing what the people are going to see so you can speak to it. Our smart database allows you to have planned and meaningful communication. This is why smart plans, to me, I don't love put everybody on the same one and push play. I think that comes across as tone deaf. I think the opportunity to speak to the person in the language that they approached you with. If I have an investor, I'm going to make sure they're getting stuff that investors would want to see. Never mind what investors would want to see, what that particular investor wants to see. That sounds like it takes time to curate all these separate conversations. It does. But once you build these smart plans, you can just plug investors into one, single moms into the other, people shopping for a house with a legal in-law because their in-laws are going to move in. Yeah, it's going to take time. All of it takes time. It'll be worth it because it's going to cause transactions that you otherwise wouldn't have. We always hear these words, leads, contacts. What's a lead? People you've earned the right to at least have a one-way conversation with. A lead is something I get when I'm doing lead generation. I ask Allison who she knows that I should know. She gives me Megan's name. I talk to Megan. She's a lead. If I earn the right from Megan to stay in touch with her in a business relationship, she becomes a contact. Contact, people you've held a two-way conversation with, whom you've established a value-based relationship with. Megan shopping. She's looking for a certain house in a certain town. We build a listing cart, and I'm going to stay in touch. Not call me when you see something, Megan. I'll talk to you in a couple of days. We always want to infer the next call, the next action. We will infer what it is. So we're never calling to say, I'm calling to follow up or check in. I'm calling because 2 days ago I said I would, and here's why I'm calling. Don't F-bomb your people. Stop saying following up. So I'm just calling so I can say that I called and check a box in my database management tool so Allie doesn't punch me in the face. Cool. Shoot, he's very violent, very violent, very violent. Relationships must be attended to, cared for, and cultivated, and that falls on us. I joked the other day, if one of our realtors at our company, if one of you lists my mom's house down in Chelmsford, I can't get mad at my mom or you. Why would my friend not list with me? Because your friend doesn't even know you're in real estate. Remember 3 weeks ago, you decided you were never going to bother anybody? That was cool. So how can we get a hold of people? Notice Gary put phone call first. Isn't it crazy how we've got this pattern going? And honestly, listen, and whatever you choose to do is going to be your way, and your results are going to be yours as well. So if you email first or text first, but here's the thing, the same people that tell me they don't want to be salesy, I don't want to come across as salesy on the phone, decide to not pick up the phone, re-nurture the relationship. They decide the very next best thing to do is to spam everyone in their life. What are we doing? Why would you do that? And I've told this story so many times. Back during E-Edge, we had a thing called E-Edge. It was baked out of Market Leader. It was what we had, the last thing we had before Command. And I was blowing stuff up and doing some new stuff, and this is years ago. And I sent something out, and I sent a test drive to my sister Jennifer, my sister Stephanie. My dad was alive at the time, but I didn't send it to him because I knew he wouldn't read it. And I sent it to my mom. And I get a call from her, like later that day, Timothy. Yeah, Mom, what's up? Why did I get, what is this? What are you, like so confused and annoyed? Like I literally spammed my mom. She didn't ask for it. I didn't call and say I'm sending out a test drive, and I want you and the girls to look at it and tell me how much it sucks. I just sent it. And the response I got from my mother is why I would never do that. And it wasn't my intention to then push play to a bunch of other people. If you are going to email first, if you are going to text first, if you're randomly going to send your KW consumer app via text to a bunch of people first in front of the phone call, you might be doing yourself and your future business a disservice for forever. Call them first. Call them first. Or if you run into them in person. Number one, I used to say this before, I'm going to triple down on it now. You run into somebody, even if you have business cards on you, I would still say I don't have any business cards, right? And that doesn't come up naturally either. So don't just hand out your business card. That's like spamming an email. Be intriguing enough to induce the ask. And the easiest way to do that is for me to say to Allison, hey, do you have a business card? right? Because I'm staying curious. I'm asking you, family, occupation, recreation, dreams. I'm asking you about whatever your business is, florist, butcher, baker. And I'm not standing in your store. We're in the wild. Do you have a business card? And if they do, cool. Now they will, usual decorum, they're going to ask you for yours. And I would stay in the lane of, I appreciate that. I'm all out. I just gave out my last one. And you give them your app. It's because so many agents are like, oh, I got to order my business card before I talk to anybody. First of all, it's 1987. Nobody cares about business cards anymore. Most of them are digital. People have all the digital ones that we use. And then above and beyond that, your business card is your app. And you get that on their phone. That's where I would start. Then later, I can do a handwritten note and send off. Hey, I got back to my office. Great connecting with you today. I'm going to check in a couple of days about the app. I appreciate you kicking the tires on that. And here's a couple of business cards that you asked for earlier. Have a great night. Done.
So, you need their address to do that.
Yep. 1000%. Yep. You have them right on the back of the business card. Right? Or their address is probably on the business card they gave you when you asked for it. Right? Yep. And if you feel that I don't have my card makes you look underprepared, give them the card. After. Hey, you know what I have? I actually have a business card you never lose. It's an app. Oh, I got a friend over at Colwell. They have an app too. Actually, this is mine. Because all the other brokerages that have their apps. Yeah, cool. Yours sends the consumer back to you via text, call, or email. Right? Doesn't send them to New Jersey. Did that sound judgy? It was meant to sound judgy. Good old Rheology and Coldwell. God bless them. They're cute. Client referral loop. Your database is going to generate leads in the form of new repeater referral. Do you guys want new business, repeat business, or referral business? Which one do you want the most? Amen, sister. All. Yes. Mr. Kelly, would you like 3, 6, 9, or 12 bear claws? Yes. Yes. All the bear claws. I'm going to give you credit, dude. First agent in all my years, and I've been talking about fat kids and bear claws since I started coaching, probably before that. First kid ever. Oh, is it? Now he's laying on the Irish Catholic guilt. Yeah, it's really cool, coach. Yeah. I got pulled over, got a $300 ticket on the way because I was speeding because I felt like the raspberry jam was leaking out the sides. I wanted to get him here fresh. That's amazing. I have to. Now I've been guilted into it. I have to. Very excited. I've got 2 things after school today. So I've got two podcasts tonight. I'm not out of here till late. So I gotta store some more fat, just in case I emaciate away in the next few hours. So I want to put it all together, right? Lead gen never ends. It's best when time blocked. And I'm going to ask you guys to not do this. A lot of people just sort of block off their mornings and it just says lead generation. Be more specific. And be realistic. Like, are you going to do 9 to 11 or are you going to start with 9 to 10? And I also don't believe that it's a great idea to start jumping around all over the place. So Monday from 9 to 9:15, I'm going to do lead generation. From 9:15 to 9:27, I'm going to do lead follow-up. And you keep stopping and starting activities, you never get anything done. Based on your energy, Monday's lead gen. Tuesday's lead follow-up. Maybe Wednesday is more lead gen. Thursday is door knock. And then Friday, you start by calling all of your clients, both buyers and sellers, to check in about scheduling appointments and showings. And then you get back to lead gen. And after lunch, if you have nothing to do with your face because you have no appointments, guess what? What do? Grab a ham sandwich and get back on the phone. Absolute brain damage. I know. The sooner you break through all of the I don't want to do this and get to the other side. Yep. Great question. Thank you for asking that. The national window that most people say are success windows, 8 to 10 in the morning and 4 to 6 in the afternoon. Now, here's why, because at 8 to 10 in the morning, people haven't got to the office yet. The world hasn't kicked them in the face yet. 4 to 6 in the afternoon, they're getting ready to pull up, right? Like I always picture your friend at Liberty Mutual, the Dover campus with all those cubes. And it looks like whack-a-mole, right? And all the heads are popping up. You call your friend, they're like, here's my out, I'm gonna grab my phone, I'm gonna grab my attaché, my messenger bag, some big schematic that doesn't even belong to me. If I worked there, and I didn't, but if I did, I would have spent my entire career at Liberty Mutual walking around with just a big blue schematic under my arm at a fast pace, saying, have you seen Bob? Right? You get all your steps in, pretend you're looking for Bob, never get anything done. That Lindsay guy is always on the move. Yep. No idea who Bob is. Don't even know what's on this paper. I look busy. Yeah. I don't know how they got anything done over there. Anyway, they did. They're selling it. I pick up my phone. I look over at you, right? And I'm talking to Derek about bear claws, walking in my car because it's an emergency. 1000%, right? People are either checking in and have been kicked in the face, or they're about to check out and they can't wait to talk to you because you're a distraction. And let's go. What? Oh, the schematic?
Yeah, just walk around fast. Be like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
He's going to film, right?
Yeah. Have you seen Bob? Yeah. Yeah. That was the running joke so there's there were temporary condos at Boston College that they call the mods. They were senior housing built in 1970. They're still there. And they're just disgusting. Anyway, and the running joke was during like tailgates, if you were like not anywhere near somebody you knew, you just walked into a mod and you said, Fitzy said I could use the bathroom. Gallagher said I could use the bathroom. Sully said I could use the bathroom because there's an Irish kid inside, probably one of those names. Yep. Fitzy said I could use the bathroom. Yeah, no problem. Go ahead. Grab yourself a drink. I will. I'm gonna grab a bear claw too, damn it. Oh, BC football. Focus on the tailgate. The football's terrible. Yeah. And again, this is going to determine the size of your business. We have to keep adding names and conversations. And think about this. This is your thumb drive. When you step away from real estate, how many humans are on your thumb drive? How many of those humans did you help buy, sell, invest, or maybe join real estate? And then when you get into those names for Tim Lindsay, do you have 603-834-2856? Do you have tim@leavemealone.com? Do you have 123 Main Street? Do you have his wife, Janina? Do you have 9696, our anniversary? Do you have 11/28/74, her birthday? Do you have Aiden and his birthday? Do you have Cameron and his birthday? Do you have Margaret, Jeffrey, and Pickles, our 3 cats? Do you have their birthdays? And I'm saying this not for the cats. Cats are assholes. Dogs are amazing. But if somebody has golden retrievers, I guarantee they're having birthday parties. We have cakes for our cats, which my wife doesn't truly celebrate, but we do it anyway because the boys love it. Right? People that have pets, that love their pets, if you sent them, like you just know the Lindsays are in love with their 3 cats, and the next birthday that comes up, there's a little card for Pickles with a $20 Chewy card inside. I don't know if I want to go that deep. I'm not saying you have to. I'm going to ask you to consider, what if you did? You're the agent of frickin' choice in North America if you start doing that kind of stuff. It's going to take a long time to gather all that information. Oh, I'm sorry. When are you getting off the bus? Like, I feel like everyone on this call said with love is, call me crazy, under 27. Am I right? Yes. Everybody nod if you're under 27. Where are you? Right nearby. No. Okay, cool. You're under 20. I'm 51. You guys are all kids. You're going to be at this long enough, right? You're going to be at this long enough. And appreciate the fact that I said under 27. Own that, right? Like, yeah, you have time to do it. That could be that could be a whole set of phone calls. When's National Cat Day? No, you won't. No, focus on the dog people. How many dog holidays are there? Right? Like, yes. And all you have to do is, what do you have for pets? I know a lot of people gathered pets, gathered companionship during COVID. What is the head count on pets in your house? Who are they? What are their names? And if somebody's going to take the time, I'm going to go, oh, cool, awesome. Don't have her number, direct message. Hey, Stacy, I'm actually drilling down with all of my friends and clients to find out more about this. And did you bring like whatever? Get her on the phone, get all the stuff, get all the details. And then what does she say? Yeah, we sort of went crazy because then there was one that we adopted. We probably shouldn't. We're in a condo. We don't have a yard. Oh, guess what's happening? Guess what's happening? Yes. Actually, I pick on her all the time. Kate Gurka, Kate Grassy now, has dog bones. She has Ziplocs with a couple of treats, with cardboard, like a cardboard business card stapled over the top, with all of her information. And then on the back says, do you need a bigger backyard? And she carries a couple with her in her bag. She has a bunch of them in her truck. And if she sees anybody with a dog, she walks up and she says, hi, do you mind if I give your dog a treat? Starts talking to them, right? And if they're like carrying stuff or whatever, she'll open the bag and give them the top so they see the business card. Oh my God, that's great. Have a few more in the truck. Do you want them? No, that's so awesome though. Oh, that's really cute. Bigger backyard. We actually do. Like she's had that conversation in front of Kohl's because she's doing that. And it sets her apart, right? It's not that we make it way more difficult. I think people in our industry love to fancy themselves as brain surgeons and rocket scientists. It's just being a human in the moment, right? So think about all the places where you meet people. And yeah. Your nosy neighbor looks like she's yelling at Megan. Yeah. Think about all the places where you meet people. And we have to start asking, and I know a lot of people got uncomfortable. I heard this so much, definitely when I was selling, because we were always taught to say, who do you know from lacrosse or work or church? And then there was a whole push with people just like, I don't know if I'd want to bring up church. Okay, because you're offending somebody. I live in a different country. I feel differently about my faith. I would have no problem doing that. And why I think it's important to categorize the question is because if I say to you, hey, Megan, who do you know on planet America? She's now trying to think of every person in the world. But I'm like, hey, Megan, who do you know from yoga? Who do you know from X, Y, or Z? Megan, I think I saw a short person in your house, right? You have play dates? Yes? Right? Who do you know from kindergarten? Now she's remembering faces, names, and conversations. So if you do practice a faith and you do go to temple or church or whatever, I would use that. Because as a salesperson, we always say this, if you win the shepherd, you'll win the herd. If you have a small faith group, as soon as you become the trusted resource for that conversation, why would you not want to do that? Oh, I don't want to bring up church, I'll offend people. Okay. Well, you're actually offending me because you're saying that you don't want to bring up church. So like you can't win in that conversation. I'm not offended, I'm joking, but like in the grand scheme of things, we have to get over ourselves. People practice faith, people go to soccer, people do all sorts of things. I think if you say, who do you know on the planet, they're going to black out and faint. And by categorizing categories that are important to you, I'm also reminding you that I know about you and I know what's important to you, right? Immediate family, friends, and this is the proximity effect. You guys all have people that are super close with you. You probably have somebody that absolutely you talk to on a regular basis, your best friend, and they know you're in real estate. My challenge to you is, do they understand that you require their help to do real estate? Because most of them don't. No, to me, all my close friends, they know I'm in real estate. Cool. And if I grabbed your phone and you let me call one of your friends and they picked up and I said, hey, Stacy, Tim Lindsay, I work with Megan at Keller Williams. Just wanted to check. Do you understand how she does what she does? Could you describe to me a day in the life? Because she says you're her best friend. And, you know, no judgment. This is why this happens. Because, well, but Tim, I'm with her every day. We go to Planet Fatness. We get on the treadmills next to each other. She definitely knows what I do. The awkwardness is turning and saying, hey, Stacy, you know what? I know you know what I do. and I know you want to help, and I failed you. I require you to help me do what I do. And here's what I mean. If you ever hear somebody say real estate in the wild, I need you to tackle them and call me, right? Because we haven't empowered our closest people to be influential, right? Like if you think about when we went back to that picture and there was the person in the middle and all the people around them. So picture like a drone shot over a lake. In the little boat in the middle of the lake is Megan. There's a whole bunch of people in the water. The people in the water are swimming towards the boat because she keeps having conversations, right? We have to tell everybody in our life 7 times we're in real estate before they forget. So every conversation, they swim closer to the boat. As they get to the boat, they start coming up the rungs of the ladder and she pulls them into the boat. As Megan's pulling Allison into the boat, she points over to the dry land on the shore. And she says, hey, Allison, who's that over there? Little short dude with red hair. Oh, that's Nate Dickey. You should get to know him. So Megan waves him into the water, right? And he goes from a lead to a contact and she nurtures him towards the boat. Now I know what you're thinking. A lot of people get in the boat. We need a bigger boat, right? Yeah. So we're gonna move from this little dinghy that she was in because she's pulling people into the boat. And they're going from being friends to being ambassadors for her. So the boat's going to switch to a ship. Because as these people get into the boat, they come into ambassadorship. Does that make sense? I want as many people that are raving fans about me and what I do in the boat. That's the mentality of making sure that you're always growing that relationship. So your closest friends that know what you do, I get it. I love you. I guarantee they don't understand how you do what you do. And you have to make that clear to them. Or we're never going to be able to help them help us. Because they'll be like, oh, I thought you just showed up and there was soft serve ice cream and pony rides. I thought Nate just handed out leads. Like, nope. We have all these resources. We have all this training. We have coaches that help us think differently and use the right words. But I need you, if you're standing next to somebody that's supposed to be transactional, I need you to remind them that I'm alive and I'm here to help. Your relatives, your neighbors, past coworkers, when you leave some other company to get into this, everyone, like you two in the room, everyone there knows where you went, right? They trust you from that relationship when you were working with them there, right? So they're going to trust you in this. We have to get over I'm just getting started. Nobody's going to trust me with their transaction. We have E&O insurance. We have managing brokers. We have, I say we, but I'm going to rephrase that. Nathan has counsel. If we get in trouble, we'll figure it out. Reminder, disclaimer. No one stands in a driveway if they're fighting with another real estate agent and says, I'm going to sue you. Unless you have counsel, but you don't get to say that. Only Nate gets to say that. And also, people that stand in driveways yelling over the top of their car, I'm going to sue you. People that scream, I'm going to sue you, don't have counsel. Because if they knew how much it costs to even say, I'm going to sue you, they would never say it. People that are unrepresented, that don't have somebody on retainer, would never yell that. And we rarely get to the point where we're suing people. You have an issue with another agent across the street, you bring it to Jason Westcott, you bring it to Jennifer Vachon. If she needs to get dad involved, Nate gets in. And if we have to get greasy, we bring in counsel. But your past coworkers absolutely trust you from other venues. You just getting started, remind them, yeah, I understand how you feel. I felt the same way. That's why I chose KW. I have 670 teammates. I have a staff that all they do is work for us. I have a non-competing productivity coach. I have a non-competing launch director. They don't sell anymore. All they do is yell at us to sell more. I have 2 managing brokers. I have probably the greatest owner on the planet. You're going to be taken great care of. Hobbies and sports groups. I think of this because I think of when Aiden was playing before he started high school lacrosse. He was playing in the feeder league for Stratford Northwood, which is the Black Bears. And I'm standing there on the sideline. And at this point, yeah, I'm out of sales at this point. And one of the team moms walks up and they're like, hey, so we're looking for sponsors. And I'm like, because guess what color Code Brown is? And the Black Bear League, black and red and white. Right, perfect. So she's like, yeah, we're looking, there's going to be different tiers and all this stuff. I'm like, I'll do it if I get the highest tier and nobody else gets it. Right. So for the years that I sponsored the Black Bear League, every time the shirt would come out at the end of the year, all the sponsors, all the dads that are general contractors and painters and all that stuff, and across the top of the shoulders, it said Keller Williams Coastal Lakes and Mountains. How many leads did we get? We got a handful. It wasn't about that. But I was thinking to myself, I'm standing on this freaking sideline for all the practices, all the games. Actually left yesterday to get out to Hopkinton to see his first game of his senior year. They won in overtime, thank God. Like, why am I not talking about this? I'm not doing business, but I have 670 agents I can refer business to. Why would I not do that? So if you're connected to, Jason Abrams talks about this all the time. What are you near that you're not currently in? Well, so my church, once a month, they either have a coffee and donut social or there's a pancake social. But you know what, Janine and I don't really want to, like, I'm not wild about sitting elbow to elbow with people and eating pancakes, true story. And my wife, Janina, is high C, high D. She would much rather talk to the wall, like she doesn't like people. She likes people, let me rephrase that. She enjoyed COVID because she didn't have to talk to people as much. She's very introverted. She's not going to do it. Our kids, sure, they'll be all about it. So I don't want to sit down and eat pancakes, but what if my real estate team sponsored the pancakes? Brought to you by. So what am I currently near that I'm not in, that I could just simply lean into? Because I'm already part of this thing. We already share this commonality, right? The analogy, when you hear me say straw in the drink, this is what I want you to think of. Picture a Yeti container. I'm looking at Allison's huge Dunkin' container. I wasn't picking on the size. I got the large caramel. I don't know what the hell I got. I don't know what I got. There's a caramel chocolate cold brew right now. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go to therapy to wean off of it. So good. It's like jet fuel. Picture the Yeti or picture the container. The Yeti is the room. The liquid inside your Yeti, maybe a nice Saturday afternoon gin and tonic. The liquid inside the Yeti is the conversation. The ice inside the gin and tonic, the ice cubes are the people. And the straw is you. Your job is to move around the room, connect with all the ice cubes, and to keep the conversation moving. So when I say be the straw in the drink, that's what I'm talking about. Picture that. Our job, and this is a bold law, people grow into the conversations we create around them. So what conversation are we creating around them? When somebody comes up and they're like, hey, Megan, how's it going? Hey, real estate. Jesus, the rates, huh? Well, tell me more about that. What are you hearing? Wow, I don't know, the other night on CNBC, Chuck Kramer said the world's ending. The other night? Yeah, it might have been 6 months ago. Okay. And Chuck Kramer, what was he talking about specifically? Now that you mentioned that, maybe he was talking about Europe, right? Like we have to, it's ironic the air just kicked in the room. I need you to walk into every room and be the thermostat, not the thermometer. We set the temperature of the conversation. We don't adjust to it. We bring water to the fire, not kerosene. We stop saying that we're busy. Stop saying, don't ever, if I ever catch you in the wild using the word seasonality, I will kick you in the face. Equal opportunity violence. We invented that word. We gave it to the humans and now they use it against us. Our market center does an inordinate amount of business in the month of December. It's snowing out. Nobody's going to move. You're wrong. Step with love. People are going to move every day. I ask you guys every day, go into Maine, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, and Vermont, and look in the multiple listing service. We've had some days lately that have been close to zero. It's never zero. Somebody yesterday sat with somebody, signed paperwork, and is on the market today. People are moving. It's our job to find out what's important to them and why they're moving. Stop saying busy. Stop saying crazy. I joked with you guys the other day. Nate's been using listing crisis, and I told him I hate it, but I'll use that language because he wants to use that language. I'll also remind you guys, I think we should say listing crisis and then add to that run-on sentence with that creates a great opportunity for buyers and sellers. Because we are having a listing crisis right now. Because we are letting cable news and local news win. We are letting horrible, uneducated conversations by the civilians without us being present drive the narrative. And that's our fault. We have to take ownership of that and start to change the conversation. People grow into conversations you create around them. So get away from the word crazy, get away from the word busy. Stop saying seasonality. Because I'll tell you one thing, if somebody really wants to move, you will be shoveling a front walk to get them into the house. And from an emotional standpoint, and from a ecumenical way, if I were a Jewish family and walked into a house and it had a Christmas tree up because it was the holidays, I wouldn't decide I couldn't live there. I would picture my Hanukkah bush in the corner where the Christmas tree is, right? Because I walk in and I look, I'm like, oh, that's where we would put the tree. Oh, maybe that's where the menorah would go. Oh, this is amazing. It smells like pine and Nana and the holidays, right? We want to give them a canvas to picture living their life on. So people wait, and now people might have people visiting during the holidays and they want to wait, 1000%. But waiting for the spring is such a bad sentence. Because we have people right now. When did spring hit? March 21st. What is today? 12th. And what based on 90 days, it is July 11th. So somebody who is waiting for spring, if you get to their kitchen table today, based on the window that we know, they were waiting for spring, we already let them down because they're going to be moving after the 4th of July, unless they are pristine. And some guy shows up with a bag of cash and a top hat, like we're in Monopoly, right? I want to buy it yesterday. Cool, thank God, because I dropped the ball and never go back to the Lindsay's because they said spring and I waited until February. Just stupid. Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna ask, so, from a buyer.
Can you yell into the thing behind you?
Yeah, so on my team, I'm a buyer's
Mhm.
agent. I'm still like looking for, because I can collect the seller referral fee all day long.
Yeah.
But like I'm not gonna say crazy now to the buyers, but it is kind of crazy. I mean,
Sure.
there was an open house for somebody on my team where there was 100 people there. We're getting those like back to that like 20 to 25 offers on one, so how can I be the thermostat of that conversation?
Yeah.
How can I just take control of that narrative? Because
Yep.
a lot of buyers are getting really discouraged right now.
Yep.
But I'm a buyer's agent, so my job is to
Yeah.
encourage.
Yeah, great question, Ms. Lindsay. Actually, you know what's really exciting for us right now? The energy's back into real estate.
Right.
The energy's back. I would say the energy is back. Replace crazy with the energy's back. And the benefit of that right now too, this is almost like shopping over the winter, Mr. Lindsay. People on the playing field right now are dead serious. And that's really cool. Things were moving quickly during COVID, but we had a lot of people that were masquerading as serious. What I can tell you right now, Mr. Lindsay, the people that are listening and the people that are joining forces with me and my team are serious. Better than that is Allie and myself and the rest of my team sit down. We're really going to make sure we understand fully what you're looking for to make this seamless for you.
Mhm.
Beyond a shadow of a doubt, there's going to be some turbulence. There always is. Humans are involved, right?
Yeah.
And we can't extract the emotion, but my job is to get in between you and the seller and extract the emotional experience for you to make sure that when I come to you, I'm bringing facts. I'm going to be remarkably honest with you with your permission, and I would pause and look at them. for them to say, yeah, of course, awesome, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
But I would, yeah, stay away from crazy and be like, we're super excited. The energy's back.
Yeah.
That's what I would say. Because
Yeah.
people hear energy, that's positive. Right? Because when, as soon as you say that, people are using crazy and they can't even paint, like, I would even challenge, what do you mean when you hear crazy? What were they saying? That's where I would go.
Yeah, well, they're talking about
Mhm.
how like people are putting in offers and not getting, like
Yeah.
they're up against 20 other people and things like that. And there's 100 people at the
Yep.
open house and
Yeah.
they don't have the budget to
Yeah.
like compete is how a lot of, especially first time home buyers, especially people who are around that, honestly, under 400,000.
Yeah.
They feel it's really hard to compete right now.
Yeah.
Because the rates, that's,
And it-
in COVID, they could go up to 500,
Yep.
right? But
Yep.
now they're crippled by the rates. So it's not like the same as the COVID era.
Yep. And again, you have to tailor this conversation to the right person, but if I'm
Right.
talking to if I have a relationship with a female and I know she's a bit of a clothes horse, I would put it this way. Yeah, I completely appreciate that. If you've seen open houses or heard that open houses have been, packed and the energy and all that stuff, I get that. Here's how we set ourselves apart at Haven Homes.
Mhm.
After our conversation today, Mrs. Lindsay, we're gonna know what you're looking for. You ever gone to Nordstrom's? Or better yet, have you ever not gone to Nordstrom's and had somebody shop for you? So you can wait outside.
For like a stylist.
You can wait outside in downtown Boston for Filene's Basement to open, closed, God rest their soul. Filene's Basement to open for the wedding dress extravaganza where women are kicking each other in the face, or you can have me like a ninja go in and shop on your behalf. So when I understand what you and Mr. Lindsay are looking for, if I were able to go to Richards Ave in Portsmouth, number 22, I think you said, knock on the door and bring it quietly to our market, not the market, would that be a problem for you?
Mhm.
It would?
No.
Oh,
no.
awesome. Sign here, right? Like that's the conversation we're gonna have.
Yeah.
I always use analogies to make them look at it differently.
Yeah,
Do you want to go wait for the prom dress fiasco at the mall?
yeah,
Or do you want me to quietly, on your behalf, go find it for you and let nobody know it's happening?
yeah.
Because you've employed me to do so.
I'm just worried about making promises like that I can't, I don't know, like, I don't know if I can like find an off-market listing for somebody that's not gonna be part of the craziness, that we're not.
Have you done it yet?
No.
That's what's so exciting, because you can.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay,
Roger Bannister didn't know if he could run the 4-minute mile. Then
right,
he did.
Right.
And do you think that it's an impossibility or you just haven't done it yet?
Right.
So people have done it. That to me, if you want to borrow some of my
yeah,
positivity, if it's been done, I'm pretty sure that you in that office over there can get it done.
Yeah.
Right? So I completely appreciate not getting out over your skis and saying, I will definitely do this for you. We know it's possible.
mhm,
And if you would like me to start shopping for you that way, you can sit back.
yeah. I mean,
If-
that's a good way to, because like a lot of people are on the Trulia, the Bizillow, whatever apps you're
Well, if you're,
talking about, and they're trying just themselves, they're looking at just themselves, but having someone whose like literal job it is, like you can stop that, like I'll do
Yeah.
that for you.
Yep.
And then, once, and we can find a good deal.
Yep.
Yeah, and leverage things other than just the price, like that's where I think real estate agents come in.
well, yeah, and I just take it to any other shopping experience. Like it's been, I don't know how long we've been doing it. And I think a lot of people moved towards it during COVID. But-
I'm sure.
My wife, my wife on Sunday night usually grabs the iPad, orders everything from Hannah Foods, and then I pick it up Monday after work. Right?
She's smart.
So she orders on the iPad. I drive it home. My boys run out to the car and carry it in. The last time she saw the grapes was on the screen and now they're in the fridge
Mhm.
because she's employed us to do the rest of the work. Right? Is there a little service fee to do that? Sure. Is there a service fee to be in business with you? Yes. Has she taken all the bullshittery of elbowing people for the right grapes? Now we might get an email Monday afternoon that says, Mrs. Lindsay, there's some substitutions or we're out of grapes. But then based on the frequency in which you're communicating on a regular basis, I got there the other day. Here comes the 12-year-old child in me. I got there the other day and Jasmine, who honestly always answers the phone. She's like, hey, Hannaford, it's Jasmine. Hey, Jasmine, Tim Lindsay, picking up Virginia Lindsay. Hi, Mr. Lindsay. How are you? Great. How are you? Good. Hey, did you see the substitutions? We had one. And she goes, actually, did you see what we didn't have? And I said, yeah. I said, we're heartbroken. I said, because we only had one box. My wife found and picked up the Peep cereal. And it's me and my boys, and we're all 12. So
Yeah.
So she goes, I actually saw a whole pallet on the floor. I'm like, Jasmine, awesome. Could you grab? And she's like, okay. I'm like, are you still with me? And she's like, yeah, I'm walking with the phone. I'm like, can you grab 2 boxes? Right? I'm sitting in my car, telling her to grab me more boxes. Is it completely different? Does the house cost more than the peeps? Yes. My point is,
Yeah.
Mr. Lindsay, if you want to stay up in the seats, I'll get in the arena. I will punch people in the face on your behalf. You tell me what you want me to go get for you,
Yeah.
right? And the convenience of you sitting up in the stands watching me do this, right? What is the triangle for sales? You can have it fast, you can have it cheap, or you can have it right. You can never have all three.
Mhm.
This may take longer, but we're going to get you the house you want at market price. But you got to give me the time to do it.
Mhm.
Let's get started right now. Sound good? Awesome. Sign here, right?
Yeah.
Like that's where I would go with that. You know,
Yeah, that was great.
categorizing your sphere of influence. So you want to build your SOI every day, sphere of influence. I hear people call it the sphere of influence. I'm like, that would be a way to get things done. Yeah. It's gonna start stabbing people in the business. Yeah. Yeah. Build your SOI day by day. Every day are you having conversations? You're adding more people to your database. That's how you're going to scale your business. I know we've been focused on getting you guys to 201 in your databases. The national numbers that we know is if you have 201 people in your database, at least you have the probability of getting to that 119,000 in GCI. What's important, and Zoe keeps pointing out, is that time, that big bar on that graph is between 201 and 1,000. So if you get to 201, awesome, keep going. But 201 is the starting point. Change the way you look at things, and the things you look at change. Another bold law, of course. Add more personal information. We talked about this, like cats, dogs, birthdays. I'm not even joking. Like, look at any blank space in your contact card for your human should be filled in. I'll repeat that. Any blank space in your contact card for your human should be filled in. Doesn't have to be filled in. And I shouldn't use the word should because it sounds like I'm shooting all over you. Do whatever you want. But if it's blank, you don't have more information than maybe the next person. The differentiation could be, dude, they love their dogs. They bought an SUV with a 3rd row, so Rex could have his own back seat. They love their dog. You're not sending them a birthday card. Have you met them? Like, oh, I didn't think that was important. I don't care what you think is important. What's important to them? Again, the database is for us to manage us with our people, not to manage our people. And are you asking? And, you know, hey, Tim, yeah, I'd love to get all your information, you know, so I can start to spam you with stuff you don't need. Or next time you talk to somebody, and I just had somebody come out of left field yesterday. How are things going? Good, whatever. If I had moved that to a phone call, I didn't. They're already in my database, but we haven't talked in a while. If I had moved that to a phone call, and it was literally like, how are you and Janine and the boys? And I was back to him, how are the girls? Knowing that he was in, I didn't. But moving forward, if I could just say, hey, yeah, my whole company just got a new tool, and I want to make sure I have all the right information for if any time in the future I earn the right to serve you. I would say it just like that. If me and my team ever earn the right to, if we ever earn the right or earn your business in the future, we'll have everything we need. And if there's everything you need, you can just send me, hey, we're looking for X, Y, or Z. Can you text that to me? Can you email that to me? And I'll already have all your stuff. But I'm not going to send you stuff unless you ask for it. But we're not asking. And using the word today is really important right now too. When somebody's like, hey, you know what we're looking for? Awesome. Did you want to see that today? Because I can move that right back to the energies back, right? I wasn't being presumptuous, Mr. Lindsay. The only reason I asked, I've had about 5 or 6 conversations this week, and the people wanted to see something yesterday. So I just feel like that's where people are at right now. So next weekend? Oh, no. And then they're going to start to put off like, no, we're not really ready to get started, but we're looking. So for clarity, Mr. Lindsay, just tell me, are we browsing or shopping? I guess we're shopping. So next weekend, I go right back to it. I'm not roaming around Best Buy. If I'm buying a TV next month, I'm in the store. The call is coming from inside the house, right?
Mhm.
Join groups. And again, and I would say, and this is where Jason Abrams said, you know, what are you near that you're not in? There's so many groups out there, and I appreciate that, but this is the power of starting your own. Do you mountain bike? Do you hike? Do you crochet? Do you skateboard? Do you juggle? Do you play pool? Do you swim? Whatever it is that you love doing, think about the fact that you could be the straw in that drink, and you're going to share a commonality with these people already. And it's not about, and again, I'm not going to drop that group in here. I'm going to create this group out there in the wild, and I want people to join me. And I would politely let, if somebody raised their hand here, like, hey, I'd love to join that group. He goes, hey, I totally appreciate that. I'm trying to grow my sphere of influence for my business. And I want to be the only realtor in the conversation. You can guard it. 4,000% you can guard it. Right. And then it's 4 or 5, it's going to take a while. It's about 4 or 5 weeks in. You got about a dozen people meeting you at the rail trail every Thursday at 4. Eventually, somebody's gonna be like, hey, is Derek here? Yeah, he's right over there. And they roll up and they're like, hey, I wanted to thank you for starting this group. Gives me an excuse to leave Liberty Mutual early, which is awesome. It's getting me out of the house. It's getting me exercise. I really appreciate it. What do you get to say? Oh, Liberty Mutual. Did you just move to the Portsmouth campus? I heard they closed over. Yeah, I did. Awesome. Hey, what do you do? I'm glad you asked. I'm with Keller Williams, fanatical about mountain biking. And if you need to live closer to your new office in Portsmouth, let me know. We'll talk after the ride. Sound good? Let whatever you're doing for this group just make you share your commonality with these people, and let the real estate be the background music. Not like, hey, before you get, everybody needs to fill out their card with all their information before we start the ride. Nope. 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 That's not why you're doing it. You're doing it to build a community that you can then become the real estate professional of choice within. Referrals. You open your phone, and I know a lot of you just landed. You open your phone in another year, and you're like, Timmy, I got 4,000 people on my phone. Here's the problem. 2,000 of them are real estate agents. Referrals. Referrals, referrals, referrals. A whole set of phone calls that you could make this week, next week. I ask you guys to do this on a regular basis. Do you have a great referral agent in all 50 states? How would I figure that out? Now, your team might. Your team does. Check in with them. I would still want my own. So I'm going to go into command and go to referrals and drop a pin in Bellingham, Washington. And I'm going to see all these little dots around it. I'm going to start clicking on people. And I'm going to be able to find by listings sold, by bold graduations. If they're an ALC member, I'll be able to find some kick-ass people. I've had so many people say, well, okay, but Tim, California. I don't need one agent for California. No, you need an agent in Los Angeles. And that agent in Los Angeles who's kick-ass and take names, guess what they know? The great agent in Santa Barbara, the great agent in San Diego, the great agent in San Jose, the great agent in San Francisco. They're going to put you in touch with all the other rock stars. Don't overthink it, but that's a whole project. Do you have 50? Like, so when you're talking to somebody like, my aunt needs to move, she's leaving Oklahoma and going to Florida. In integrity, I can be like, cool, I got great people in both those states. Now you're becoming the person that when they think of real estate, they're going to you. Because if we don't do that, they start to convince themselves that you have a license to sell real estate in Portsmouth. I've told that story a million times. Probably haven't told you 3, so I'll tell you 3. One of my best friends from childhood in Chelmsford, Mass, Matt Rivard, took over his dad's trucking company. It's called JP Rivard Trailer Sales. If you are on the highway in the next 3 days, as you're passing 18-wheelers, I guarantee you're going to see mud flaps that say JP Rivard. That's him. And a handful of years ago, it was like the last summer I was in sales, my wife is on FaceSpace, and she goes, hey, Matt and Melissa moved. And I was like, oh, for the love of God. She's like, yeah, they sold Nashua. They moved to Londonderry. They sold a 450 and bought like a 650. $1 million in volume. My wife, this is one of my best friends from childhood, who I still see all the time. My wife gets on FaceSpace and she starts texting, direct messaging Melissa. Hey, congratulations. Now, you know, the conversation in Londonderry is her yelling upstairs to Matt. Hey, I'm texting back and forth with Janina. This is going to be awkward. And Melissa says, it was two things. We didn't think Tim would come all the way over here. Brain damage. I grew up in Chelmsford. Nashua was like northwestern Chelmsford. It's right across the border. We didn't know Tim would come all the way over here. We thought he only worked with buyers. Because at the time, JB and I had taken over Nate's business. JB was lead list. I was lead buyer specialist. So when I say to you, make sure your friends know how you do what you do. And every time you pass a JP Rivard truck, you can die for me a little bit every time. Because I was a million in volume because I was an idiot. Don't let it happen to you. I'm building my business on people I know and the people they know. Who do you know that I should know? Do you know of anyone from a family, friends, work, or your neighborhood, or a group that you belong to who's thinking of buying, selling, or investing? I'll be pleased to serve them. If you hear of someone with a real estate need, will you keep me in mind? And let me know right away. And do you have to say that whole top paragraph? No. You have to find a way to make sure you say it? Yes. Unless you don't like money. If that's the case, we probably have to have a different conversation. Track your lead sources. Like, where is the calls you're having right now? Where do these people come from? Audit them. I sent Billo a check. They promised me 12 leads every month. Last 2 months, I got 6 each month. They're falling behind. Hold them accountable. Diversify your database. Make sure you're not just dumping things in from one aggregator. Make sure you're finding new people from work, from church, from mountain biking, from play groups, from your spouse or partner's office. Get everyone involved. Because you're also going to be at an event with a loved one. One of their friends is going to walk up to them standing right next to you and talk about the house they just sold. And then you're going to want to punch your spouse in the face, which I appreciate. And that is all our fault. We have to take ownership on that. Be consistent. If you put a moat around your mornings and protect your mornings, and you hear us say this all the time, win the morning and win the day, right? I think we get all worked up like, oh my God, I got to make sure that I absolutely crush 2023. Slow down. And there's a great book, Brian Moran, M-O-R-A-N, Brian Moran, The 12-Week Year. He's basically talking about crushing a quarter. There are 13 weeks in a year. Take a vacation week, and the other 12 weeks, crush that quarter. So whatever your annual goal is, what does it look like for the quarter? What does your quarter goal look like for the month? What does your monthly goal look like for the week? What does your weekly goal look like for the day? What does your daily goal look like by noon? Win the morning, win the day. If you crush what you're supposed to do with your face and your phone and your activities before lunch every day, it's going to fall into place. You won't need appointments. You'll be creating them. So I always talk about making that list the night before. Storyboard who you're going to talk to the night before. Get your mind right. Use an affirmation. The bold one from years ago is they're home, they're happy, and they're going to list with me. I'm make one up off the top of my head right now. I'm calling with a care-filled heart and interested ears. That's it. That's all we need to do. Do we have to ask for the business and the opportunity? 1000%. But I'm not coming out of the gate like, hey, Derek, how you doing? Tim Lindsay. Haven't talked to you since the Truman administration. You want to buy, sell, or invest today? No? Okay, I'll call you in another year. Just go home and go lay in traffic if that's how you're going to play. But if you're going to call every day, make people feel heard and cared for, and then when the time is right, when they say, hey, how's work? Oh, I actually stepped away from that. Got my license. I'm with Keller Williams. Oh, wow, what's that like? I heard it's crazy. Yeah, there's a lot of energy going around right now. People are very excited. We have a lot of clients that are buying and selling. Just sat with my team, and based on our goals and based on the tools we have in place, we can help 32 more families So Derek, who do you know that I should know that we can serve? And then do what I never do, kids. And let the dead air do the heavy lifting, right? If they don't think of somebody right then, that's fine. Hey, I'm glad we caught up. Love to see you soon. What's your schedule look like? Do you want to get together for a coffee or a cocktail? I always say that. 'Cause if they want to meet at 7 o'clock for a coffee, they've made choices in life that I haven't yet made. Did give it up for Lent. Great cocktail at my parents' house on Sunday. Dear Lord. My mom made, I don't know, sparkling pina colada, I don't know, it was Prosecco, Malibu rum, cranberry juice, and pineapple juice. Yeah. The wife was driving, thank God. Yeah. Thank God. She always drives. She doesn't like my driving. Then take action, have the conversations. But get that list in front of you. Make sure you do some scripting with a friend before you get on the phone. Scripting to me, that thing you're doing with somebody for 15 minutes before you start to make your calls is like hitting a bucket of balls before you play golf. And there'll be some days that Allison calls Derek to do script practice and he wasn't going to do anything that day. And he's like, the reminder is like, yeah, you know what I'm supposed to do in the next 15 minutes? I'm supposed to get on and make my actual calls. Have the conversations. Make as many dials as you possibly can. Have as many conversations as you possibly can. Take notes while you're having those conversations. If you're a Typosaurus Rex and you can type in a command in real time, good for you. I always wrote my notes down and then I would move them over later. Thank God now I've got the Remarkable, so I can just send the digital chicken scratch to the cloud. And we're going to maintain that. Go into our database, make sure we're moving the notes in, our follow-up actions. This is a big pain in the ass. Here's the thing, kids. As soon as we get good at this, we get to give this to somebody else. I'll repeat that. The things in our business that we do not love, that I still, as your coach, want you to get really good at, you can leverage your way out of. So as you grow your business, you're going to eventually, should you choose to build a team of this size, you're going to have an ISA, an inside sales agent. This person is going to do ISA and OSA things. ISAs call METs. Inside sales agents call METs. They call people in the database that the team knows, inviting them to the next event. OSA, outside sales agent, is calling lead sources, the unmets, to nurture them into relationship with the team. Until you earn that right, grab the headset of your choice, push play, and do what everybody else who's successful in this industry has done, which is have more conversations. And I'm going to remind you, if you opened a restaurant, your friends would come to the restaurant and eat to support you. They would sit down, they would compliment you, they would order food, they would chew, they would rave, they would overtip, and they would leave, and then they would come back if it was a good product. The understanding for Americans on how do I support my friend with a restaurant is tab A, slot B. In real estate, they don't know how to help us. We have to help them help us. This is classic. When you get to a point in your real estate career that you have a door on your office, write this down, it'll be on the quiz later. Shut your door. Oh, I don't want to be rude. I want the office to be social. I don't, and I'm your coach. I want this building before 12 noon to be like a frickin' library. Why is nobody playing kickball in the hallways? Because we're adults and we're setting appointments. Yeah. We're not adults either. I was wondering if anybody was going to blip up on that.
That's a stretch.
Yeah. Shut your door, right? Build a bunker. Make sure you have water, snacks, so you don't have to leave. Hit the men's or ladies' room, go in, shut the door, get on the horn, have your conversations, and enlist support. Hang that sign on your door that says, I'm doing my one thing, I'll see you after lunch. I mean, Zoe, and I want to fix this, Zoe right now is having to hang a sign on her door that says she's in a coaching call. I don't have to do that. I would love for her to not have to do that. When her door is shut, my door is shut, especially all day. You guys know we're in private conversations with you guys. Your door being shut is not rude. Your door being shut is love and care for the people that you're fighting for, which is your family at home. You want to leave your door open so you don't feel rude? Don't ever plan on booking Disney. Mark Zoller at his Rochester office, he used to be downstairs, has a picture of him and the girls, Amy and the girls, and they all have surfboards. They're in Hawaii. And it says, please do not disturb on booking our next trip. Yep, leave me alone. I love you. I can love you at 12. I'll love you at 12 o'clock. Leave me alone. Do not knock. It's closed doors in our office means people are busy or they're on an appointment. How has your thinking changed? Anybody?
Yeah, sometimes I forget that it's not just about the person you're talking to, it's about who they know too.
Mhm.
So even if it's a no from them,
Yep.
they might know 5 other opportunities
Yep.
for you.
Yep.
And so kind of building that trust with them also potentially builds that opportunity.
Huge. What do you guys feel differently about? What actions will you take? Anything? Mhm. Yeah. I'd love your help. And don't say, don't assume they have zero money. Don't assume they're not doing anything. Just say, hey,
You're poor, but you're.
well, no, you know what? Hey, Steve, you know what? I know you're a lot like me and you're probably curious about how to get started. And I've learned a lot since I got to KW. I'd love to sit with you and just talk about what next steps might be for you to build a wealth plan. That's it. If somebody's insulted by that, they won't be, right? We talk about the 10, 10, 10, 10, 5, 1, right? Have 10 conversations. Once you talk to those people and get permission to put them in your database, please do that. Thank those 10 people for taking your call. If you get more than 10, make it 20. Great. Let's make sure we are planning to have every day at least 20 conversations. Gary would say double down on Ignite. So Ignite numbers should be 20, bold numbers should be 40. If your intention tomorrow is to make your calls, enough dials to have 20 conversations, and you fail and only get to 11, I assure you, you're better than most. Our job every day as business owners of our tiny little businesses that live inside of us is to out hustle yesterday's version of you. Can you be better than yesterday's version of you? So after you write those 10 handwritten notes, go on social media, like or heart 10 posts, drop down 5 comments here and there of 5 words or more. And I would also invite you to post something. So 10 hearts or likes, 5 comments of 5 words or more, and then post something somewhere. And enrichments are like gifts of value, right? What are you going to offer to somebody? Do you have something that you can deliver? Is there a book that you've read that you love? Do you have an extra copy you can give to somebody? And then behind that, set up a meeting to talk to them about it. A lot of agents will have red books and shift books, your favorite book from Ryan Holiday, and have copies of that and hand it out to people as they see fit. There it is, 43 grand, don't do it. TCPA, Telephone Consumer Protection Act. Do not call.gov, don't get sued. Not great. I engage in every conversation in the spirit and contribution, and people are happy to be in relationship with me. That is, they're home, they're happy, they're going to list with me. What are you telling yourself every day? Are you renting space in your head to something that's not helping you? Don't forget to make your list. Make your storyboard every night. I think it's important. I know it seems remedial, but it's probably going to be. If you're not making your calls because of a lack of a plan, make the plan the night before. Keep a notebook next to your bed too. You wake up at 3 in the morning with that wonderful idea, write it down. Make a list of all the things racing through your head that are not allowing you to get to sleep and write them down, deal with them in the morning. Keep that notebook next to your bed. We just went over that. Friday, we're gonna hit grow your database. We will do grow your database probably in the training room. I know they're gonna get setting up for the ALC on Friday, so I'm probably gonna do that last session of shift, digital only. So we'll probably be in here till 11 and then we'll go digital for the last piece. Questions, comments, concerns? Thank you, Sally Stu. Okay.
Thank you, Tim. Always happy to be inspired while I'm lead generating.
I appreciate that. Have a great day.
You too.